Sharknado comes full circle. Or does it? It does. I hope. Pretty sure it does. This was released in 2018. They were released consecutively yearly, but yeah, they call this one the last Sharknado for a reason, and it really does wrap things up kind of nicely. Didn't like it as much as the fifth, but like I said, it's basically exactly what I remember it being. This is the second time I've watched it, doing these reviews, and it was alright. It was good. It's got Dee Schneider in it, amongst a bunch of other cameos. I guess I could start with those. You got Chris Owen, which is funny to see. I forgot that he was in it. Shermanator from American Pie. It was hilarious seeing him there. Sky's back from the third movie. Finn's ex-girlfriend. Latoya Jackson makes an appearance in here. Bernie Kopel, who I know by face, but I didn't recognize his name, and I know him from a bunch of movies. I can't even think of one off the top of my head, but the guy is a legendary actor, so he's been in so much shit. And then there's, well, I'm going to get to the plot before I start talking about a lot of the characters. Like I said, this one deals with time travel, which I'm kind of mixed on. I don't know. It's kind of stupid. Well, we're talking about Sharknado, and I'm saying it's kind of stupid. It just goes too far, and it's just it's too big of an idea to play with in an hour and a half film, and it's not as fun as some of the other entries were. I think it's okay. It's not horrible, and it's not boring. It's definitely not a boring film, but it definitely crosses too many stupid lines to make it as good as some of the other entries. But one thing this film does good is really wrap things around, kind of like I said, full circle, and adds a lot of things that went on in the first film, kind of connecting them. So that's pretty cool. Film begins in the dinosaur era, so you've got sharks fighting dinosaurs and them fighting dinosaurs. Since at the end of Sharknado 5, they basically destroyed the world and turned it into an apocalypse, and pretty much all the character died. They pulled off an Avengers Infinity War, Sharknado style. So pretty much like all the characters were gone, and when Finn goes back in time, Back to the Future style, with Dolph Lundgren as his son, older version, he meets them all again, and they're all in, Stonehenge dress and all that. Nova's back. Nova's amazing. April's back, obviously. You get this guy named Brian, who I kind of forget who he was, but apparently I think he was closer to like the first or second films, but I don't know. He shows up. I just forget kind of who he was. And yeah, they're battling dinosaurs, and they want to stop the first Sharknado from happening so that it doesn't domino affect the rest of the Sharknadoes into the future and into 2013, whenever the first movie was. How they know it's the first Sharknado beats me. Like, they just look at the tornado full of sharks and it's like, that's the first Sharknado. It's like nothing really says that it's the first. There could have been one before, but there's no explanation there, but whatever. And then you get these vortexes happening again, which makes them go forward in time, as well as this little device that Dolph Lundgren gave Finn that allows them to go forward in time, but they can only go in one direction, so they can't keep jumping back and forth. It's only forward that they can go. So they start jumping through all these times. They go to the medieval times, which there's this sorceress drag queen who's apparently a really famous drag queen in real life named, Alaska Thunderfuck 5000, I think her name is, or his name is. He goes by her, from what I looked up. So she is named Alaska Thunderfuck 5000. I think that's how she goes by, or just Alaska. Never heard of her before, but yeah, she's in here. She's pretty hilarious and very random. There's dragon sharks in the medieval times, of course. You've got the vortex tornadoes. They start calling them time nados. They name the sharks and the tornadoes everything you can imagine throughout these films. It's absolutely hysterical. I swear to God, not even kidding. This you could so easily make a Sharknado video game, and I'm surprised they haven't made a Sharknado video game yet, because like you could do so much with a video game of these films. It's crazy. So yeah, they're fighting dragon sharks in the medieval times, and every time they jump times, things change as well. So Brian turns when they jump into the medieval times, he becomes a black woman, and then when they jump forward again to the colonial times, he becomes Brian again, um, and just a bunch of shit happens. And then the colonial times, they jump there to the times of George Washington and Hamilton something. I'm not a big history guy, but yeah, George Washington in the time of the American Revolution. They get involved in that because they have to win the fight, otherwise America wouldn't be America and none of the characters would exist in the future. So they go through that slew of stuff with sharks, and they jump from there to the Wild West where Dee Schneider shows up, and Dee Schneider is like the mayor, the he basically owns the small town, and he's the whole like shoot 'em up guy. I found that pretty hilarious. Nova, since she had this thing where she really wants her grandfather back, she goes through this kind of revolution where she goes rogue, and she makes it her whole mission to stop her grandfather from dying in 1997. So that comes into a plot point, and obviously Finn is trying to stop her because they don't want to mess up the future where nothing exists or everything changes, butterfly effect style. But yeah, they eventually end up jumping to 1997. They end up in the 60s too, where Finn meets his parents, and his parents are scientists, and somehow in this alternate universe they discovered laser technology in the 60s. So they're on this beach, and there's like 60s music with like, your typical 60s band playing, and phone rang and it's loud as hell. They're in the 60s, and somehow they discovered laser technology. Finn's parents did, and everybody's, on the beach with big sunglasses and dancing, and there's laser guns. And then I mentioned 1997, and then they end up in the year 2013. And in 2013, it's the planet of the Aprils, they say, because there's this whole like robotic army of Aprils, with a leader April and an April that's kept in a box that literally looks like a Barbie box but human size, and she's in there like the original April where they got the DNA and all this stuff. They try to piece together logic that there is none to be made of, so it is what it is. But yeah. So in 2013, Finn and Sky and no, Nova's not there. They're fighting this whole army of Aprils and leader April, and they originally can't go back in time, but lo and behold, they find a way because leader April like is the master of time travel. So with fighting her, they cause another vortex to go back. And like I said, there's the whole Nova thing with her grandfather where she tries to stop him from dying, but then she realizes that because of time travel, it was her that caused the accident in the first place. And eventually they end up right back where they wanted to be in 2013, and that's where the whole film comes full circle. I don't know why, but I really find the speech that Finn gives at the end heartwarming, and I think it kind of wraps up the film nicely. Weird, I know, for a film like this, but I like it. it's it's the best part of the movie anyway, compared to everything else. And like I said, for a film that is what it is, it kind of it wraps up the way it should. And I mean, to watch them back to back, if you could, if you want to have like some kind of Sharknado party or something, make some Sharknado punch or some Sharknado inspired drink and like just binge all the films. It's a fun series. Like, I can't take anything away from the fun factor of this franchise, as stupid as it is. So it does its job, you know. You you want to go into this expecting a masterpiece thriller? Well, you're just an idiot. Like, you go into Sharknado exactly what the frickin' title displays and what you see on the cover, you know. But it's the last Sharknado. It's about time, right? And this is the Sharkaholic cut. I don't know. They name the like cuts of the films random things as well. There's Alaska actually, the drag queen in the medieval times, and Dee Schneider, of course. There he is. There's Latoya Jackson, and a slew of other people. My God, Nova's my favorite. Nova's gorgeous. I really want to watch the film that she's in. Truth or Dare. She's in a film, like a sci-fi film called Truth or Dare, which is basically, I don't know if it's a ripoff of the other Truth or Dare. There's a few films called Truth or Dare. But she's in one of them, and I saw the trailer. It looks alright, and she's in it, so it's definitely on my list. But yeah, that finishes off the B-Movie Banter Sharknado edition, so that's the last of these, but lots of B-Movie Banters to come. I've got a list of B-Movie Banter films that I'm going to be reviewing. So subscribe to Morgan Film Fan if you like my reviews, if you like listening to my voice, and if you want to keep in touch with all my videos. So I will be back for more. Until then, take care, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.